Alright, hey guys, this is AJ Unlimited here to bring you another video. This one's going to be doing a follow-up to one of my previous videos that I uploaded a couple months ago called 10 Things That Annoy Us All on a Daily Basis or something like that. I'll put it right there, whatever it goes. I listed the title as 10 more things that annoy me personally because I don't think this is stuff that other people really can relate to on the level that I can because this is stuff that I do experience on a daily basis, but it's sort of more of like personal pet peeves and a little bit more specific and broad. That didn't make any sense. As always, I just kind of have these post-its. I just kind of wrote them down right before I started recording this, and they're not listed in any particular order. I just listed them as they came to my mind. So without any further ado, let's get right on into it. The first thing that I wrote down, and this is actually the number one thought that inspired this video because it makes me really mad, and that's when people let things go to their head. And what I mean by that is, let's say they get a promotion or a certain job, or like even receive like 5 subscribers on YouTube, and now all of a sudden they like have to act all cool and like all big and bad, and like they let it go to their head. They allow themselves to think that they're like super cool and super popular now. And when people like let their job title like now all of a sudden define who they am, and now like they have this like just the sense of purpose all of a sudden, and they think that they can just tell people what to do. And what makes me really mad is when people are, let's say they are trying to get promoted, or they have recently been promoted, and now all of a sudden they go to the textbook like crazy, like they like hunker down on all the rules, and they just have to like point out things that somebody might be doing wrong according to the textbook, and they make it all about them and just being in charge. And they tell you like you're doing something wrong just because they can, just because they have the power to tell you to do something. I really hate that when people let that power get to their head. Number two, this I actually experienced pretty recently because I was training for a different position at my job. And I admitted to my trainer that I was a little bit nervous because I was sweating a lot. When I get nervous, I sweat a lot. I had to carry a little rag with me. I was batting my face, uh, and I just admitted that I was a little bit nervous because I had to kind of like go out of my comfort zone and interact with people and do stuff like that I don't normally like to do. And my trainer, one of them, said to me, "Oh, there's nothing to be worried about. There's nothing to be nervous about. Just it's fine. They're just people, whatever." And like my immediate response was, "Yeah, maybe you're right." But on the inside, I'm like, "Yeah, okay, maybe to you because you do this every day, but this is my first time doing it. I'm gonna be nervous and sweaty whether I like it or not." Because it's just how this goes. It's out of my comfort zone. This is outside of my territory. I don't normally do this type of stuff. So yeah, I'm going to be a little bit nervous. I hate when people say that. Like, oh, like, go talk to that girl. There's nothing to be nervous about. She's just a person. She's just a girl. Just talk to her. Just be yourself. It's like, okay, no, it's not always that easy, man. Because yeah, maybe you've done it a few times. You're obviously, you don't have a beer belly, right? You don't sweat profusely when you get nervous. But there's probably nothing to be nervous about, right? Well, yeah, okay, no, but yeah, there is. Okay, like I'm nervous. I'm feeling nervous. I can't tell my body to stop being nervous. It just happens. If you're the type of person who doesn't like storms, right? Or if you don't like to fly on a plane, or like you just have weird like phobias like that, and people tell you, "Oh, there's nothing to worry about. There's nothing to worry about." It's like that doesn't help me. That just makes me feel more alone and isolated and judged. Like, if anything, just say, "Yeah, I get it. I get it. Yeah, okay. I totally get it. I would probably be nervous too if this is my first time doing this. So just, take your time. No pressure. Use the sweat rag if you gotta." It's like, yeah, no problem. I totally get it. You're human. It's okay to be nervous from time to time about just random everyday stuff. Third thing, this one really made me mad. This was when I was working at Panera Bread, and I was talking to this woman who it was probably in her like mid 30s at the time, or maybe early 30s. I don't know. She was older. She had like a couple of kids, and we were good friends. She was actually kind of like a mother or like an auntie to me. And there was one day when I was just telling her I was like stressed out about I wasn't telling her specifically. I just said I'm stressed out about like stuff at home, like because it was true. I was just going through a lot at home, family stuff, and she's like, "Oh, like what do you have to be stressed out about? You don't have kids. You don't this and that, this or that or the other. You don't have this problem like I do. You don't have these problems that I have. Like, what do you have to be stressed out about? And I literally looked her in the face. I said, just because I don't have kids doesn't mean I'm not allowed to be stressed out. I said, I'm human. I get stressed. Okay, maybe it's not like the level of stress of having kids would be, but it's still it's not that it's not all black and white. And I got mad when she said that because that was just straight up ignorant. That'd be like me saying to a 20-year-old kid that I work with, "Oh, you have nothing. Well, what do you have to be stressed out about? You don't own a condo. You don't have to pay bills. You don't have this or that or the other." Well, who knows? Maybe they're dealing with other domestic stuff. Maybe their parents are alcoholics or something, and they're just struggling to, survive and get their next meal. It's like you just don't know. It's the same thing when people claim they have depression or anxiety. It's like, what do you have to be depressed about or anxious about? You have a roof over your head. You have food on the table. What do you have to be depressed about? You have a great life. That's exactly what I was told when I was going through my stuff like 5, 6 years ago. And that is a very frustrating thing for somebody to tell you. When you are in a state of like, you're stressed out or I don't know, you're like I said, you're nervous or you're depressed about something and people tell you that you shouldn't feel that way or you don't have to feel that way or you don't, it's like, will you just shut up and like, let me feel like I don't like that. I hate when people tell you like, yeah, you're not depressed. What do you have to be depressed about? What do you have to be anxious about? What do you have to be stressed out about? You have a great life. Okay, yeah, I didn't think of that. You're right. I'm sorry. Okay, there it goes. The stress is gone. Peaches and cream. Next thing I have listed is people being unnecessarily loud. And I think I might have touched on this one in the other video, but I'm gonna kind of go through it again. This one really bothers me when I'm at work and people are like, because I work in a kitchen, like I've said multiple times, and people like slam stuff or they talk loudly. And it's just like, I mean, sometimes I get it because they're trying to communicate to somebody who's like kind of far away and it's a big kitchen, there's a lot of noise, but it's all tile and ceiling and there's very few items in that kitchen that like absorb sound. So everything echoes like for days. And when these people are like screaming back and forth to each other, whether it be good or bad, vibes, it still annoys me because it's like, shut up. You're not the only two people in this kitchen. Like I'm usually towards the end of the night, I'm usually listening to something. I have a little Bluetooth earpiece and I'm either listening to like Office Ladies podcast or some just music. But when people like just slam stuff just out of sheer ignorance, like they're not even thinking, they just like set something down loudly or they drop something or they say something loudly or they laugh loudly. People need to be more aware of their pitch, their tone, their level of speaking or whatever. Like stop, you don't need to be so loud. Next thing I have listed is people doing things intentionally even though they know that it annoys you, and this can mean anything. Like I said, when people are like sometimes in the kitchen that I work, these cooks will come over and take their whatever it is that they're cooking with, and they'll just slam it down on the shelf really really hard, even though they know that I hate when they do that, and it makes me so mad because I'm very sensitive to loud noises. I don't know if it's like PTSD or something, but when somebody makes a loud noise or like slams something, it like completely shocks my system, and I just want to throw something against the wall or punch them in the face. And or just little things like, let's say I'm talking to a buddy of mine or one of my brothers, and they'll say or do something that they know will get under your skin because they're trying to get a reaction out of you. That's something that just makes me mad. Like, grow up, don't do that, don't stir the pot, open cans of worms that you don't need to open up. Just be cool, mature, let's all be just adults. Next thing I have listed is people constantly trying to steal the spotlight or be the center of attention. This is obviously mostly geared towards adults. Kids do it all the time just because kids will be kids, but if you're like an adult, like 18 or older, and you're constantly trying to like be the center of attention, especially at a party, especially in a public place, like at a bar or a restaurant, and somebody's like, let's say I'm telling a story or I'm just like talking to somebody, and there's always that one loud mouth that has to interject and crack a joke and make fun of you. And it's like, and then people laugh, whether it's just out of sympathy or whatever. Like, sometimes I'll just like crack a little smile, like, aha, anyway, let me speak now. And then to even go further with that, it gets me even more angry when they do that and then you don't laugh because you just, I don't find that funny. I'm sorry, I just don't find that joke very funny. And then they think you get offended and they're like, oh, I'm just kidding. I'm sorry, I didn't mean that. I'm just kidding. It's like, just shut up. Like, shut up. You don't need, I didn't find that funny. I'm not offended by it. I just didn't find it funny. I wish you would just shut up and just let me speak. It's like almost as if like every other sentence you speak, they have to jump in and make a joke about it. It's like, shut up. Like, I used to do that. I used to be guilty of doing that because I was brainwashed. I was surrounded by people who did it all my life. And so I'd always do that. In my early like working years when I was working part-time still at Jimmy John's and Panera Bread and such, I would do it all the time. And after a while I started to figure it out that that's people don't usually laugh when you do that. Every once in a while maybe. If it's you're in the right time and place and you crack the right joke, you might get a chuckle or two. But generally speaking, like, the less jokes you crack in just an everyday public situation or whatever, like, the better. Because if you just keep on trying to desperately make people laugh out of just random joke telling, that's just like just blindly telling jokes and interrupting and being loud and trying to steal the spotlight or whatever. And it doesn't have to just be trying to be funny. It can also be like I'm telling a story about myself, and in the middle of the story, somebody cuts me off and says, "Oh yeah, I know totally what you mean," and they go on a tangent about something they experienced, and they make the conversation about themselves. I don't know. It's very, very annoying. People just tend to think that everybody looks at them. Everybody's looking at them all the time. Everybody wants to hear them speak about themselves. It's like, no, shut up. The next thing I have listed here is people acting like they're like too good for something, or they're trying to pretend like they're above other people. One example of this would be like people tend to say, oh, if you're chasing towards a goal or you're trying to just, I don't know, do what you're just trying to like function in society, like who cares what people think about you? Who cares what people think? Just do you, just be yourself and just keep doing what you're doing. Who cares what people think? But sometimes people will take that too far. And it's almost like they put up this shield. It's like a security blanket. Like when they're doing, if they know they're doing something that's stupid, and they just say, "Oh, I don't care. I don't care." There's people that don't want to be held accountable for stuff or take responsibility for their actions, and just pretend that like they're just they're just too good for just everyday common sense, like just unspoken rules that everybody just should be following. Like it's almost like they make a habit of breaking rules because it makes them feel look cool, superior, uh, or like I don't know. Some people are just they don't know when to turn off that switch when it comes to not caring about what people think or breaking certain rules. It's okay, obviously, all the power to you if you don't care about others' opinions about you. But if it's like starting to affect them in a negative way, that's when you're crossing the line. Like, just use your head, use your best judgment, and just, be respectful towards people, man. Is that too much to ask? Next thing I have listed is when people are like two-faced, when you're around them. If you're around this person around one group of people and they're acting and speaking and behaving a certain way, and then you're around them with a completely different group of people and they're like it's like a switch they flipped and now they're acting a certain way to impress these people. It kind of goes back to like trying to be the center of attention or trying to like pretend like you're too good for something. It's kind of like falls on under that same category of being arrogant and ignorant and just not using your head. They don't have like a grounded sense of who they are or who they're trying to be. They're just trying to blend in with the crowd and fit in with whoever they can in the moment and just survive doing that in society. And it's like you gotta pick a side and you gotta stick with it. You know what I'm saying? I really hate that when people are just like they'll just agree with a certain group of people in the moment just so that they can be popular and accepted and loved by that specific group of people in the moment. Number 9, I think. When people just not cleaning up after themselves. I worked with a guy who was just kind of like that. Like he would, I don't know, let's say we were in the break room in the locker room at work and he would like eat a piece of candy and just take the wrapper and just toss it on the table. Or like one of my buddies does like chewing tobacco and he like spits it into his bottle and then he'll just like leave it there. Like, sometimes we'll be at another person's house, right? And he just leaves it there. Like, doesn't clean up after himself. He just leaves a spit bottle there, sometimes even an empty like can of the chewing tobacco. It's like, just throw it away. Like, why? That's disgusting. So little things like that. Or I don't know, when I'm at work too, sometimes people like the early daytime shift will like they'll leave without really cleaning up their work area, and then I have to kind of clean up after them. That's very obnoxious. Don't do that. Clean up after yourselves. Always make sure. This is my dad would always say this, especially if like you're riding in somebody else's car. Always leave it the way you found it, or else you're just being a douche. The last one that I have here is a hefty one, and this one's I'm gonna be speaking a lot because I have a lot to say about this. And it's people acting like they have it all figured out. They have the answers to all of life's questions, and they have the answer to all of your problems. This really makes me mad when, let's say, just for example, somebody's struggling with their weight, and somebody just comes out of left field and says, "Oh, why don't you just go on a diet? Why don't you just start exercising? Why don't you just do this or do that?" It's like, "Oh, I wish I had thought of that." Yeah, sheesh. Wow. Figured that out pretty quick now, didn't we? Thank you, man. Thank you. Let's just use my YouTube channel, for example. I'm constantly saying, I try to upload at least once a week. And I don't always do that. Sometimes it's, longer than a week since my last upload, whatever. Sometimes I do 2 uploads in 1 week. So it's kind of an averages out. But sometimes people will say like, "Oh, why don't you just upload every day? Why don't you upload 3 times a week? Why don't you do this? Why don't you do that?" It's my YouTube channel. It's my baby. This is my hobby, my whatever you want to call it. I am going to do whatever the hell I want. I'm going to upload once a week, once a day, once a year, once a month. And even if it's just me sitting there eating a bowl of cereal, not saying anything, you don't have the right to tell me that's not good enough. Because if I think it's good enough, damn it, it's good enough. Treating your problems or things that you are trying to just kind of figure out and still trying to get over a hump, let's say, for a goal. And people just kind of like condescend you, like saying, "Oh, well, how hard can it be? Just do it. Just get up and do it." It's like, okay, no. That just, don't say that. Because, first of all, now I just feel like I'm being attacked. Like these humps or whatever you want, these hurdles that I have to go over, you're making it sound like they're not that bad. And maybe to you they're not, but to me, in this moment, in my position in life, and what I'm currently struggling with, it is that difficult. And don't sit there and just shrug your shoulders and pretend like it's not a big deal, like it's easy. Like, just, all you gotta do is you just set your mind to it and you can do anything or whatever. I hate when people say that. Yeah, maybe it's true for some, not so much for others. Everybody's different. And when you say stuff like that, it just makes you feel small and like disrespected, and as if the things that you're currently trying to work on within your own self, within your mind and body. When people say that, it's like it's not that big of a deal. It doesn't really matter. It's not that. It just makes it sound like it's very condescending and just disrespectful. You lack that sense of empathy. Like, "Oh, I did it. I can do it. You can do it." So that's my list. Sorry, kind of went on for a little while there. But I need to get all that off my chest because there's some people out there that it's like they only see the world through one lens, and that's through what they personally see. They don't have like that sense of other people's thoughts and feelings and emotions and how they might be different and how certain tasks might be more difficult to them for any reason. It's like some people just have that one way street way of thinking where it's like, it's like I don't even know how to describe it. It's a very narrow way of thinking, and they're just clueless. That's it. That's all I have to say about that. So thank you guys once again very much for watching this video. I do hope you enjoyed it. If you liked it, you know what to do. Please like, subscribe, comment, email me. It's all down there in the channel, in the About tab, etc. description. So please do that. And that's it. So thank you guys once again, and as always, I will see you next time. God bless.